Hi and welcome to Car and Mechanical, and today I'm going to take you through an update video for my 1999 110 horsepower TDI Audi A3. So recently the front wing got damaged, it dropped off the handbrake ever so slightly on a hill and I end up with this dent. So I'm going to have a series of videos where I deal with sorting this out but also taking it past that and repainting the entire of the car. It seems like the right time to do it because of the whole of the paintwork of the car is a bit tired and I just want to get it looking right again. It's probably a good time to change the colour as well. So as we start and look around the car, we can see the dent on the wing, so that's pretty much had it, but the door's okay. There's perhaps a little bit of reshaping that could be done on the door, but the door itself is mostly alright, so I'm going to try and save that. If not, I'll buy a new door and I'll fit that as well. As we move around the car, I'm just going to show you some of the issues I do have with it. So I'll put a bit of filler in the door. But as we look over to the front of the car here, you can see where the clear coat started to peel off. So that's all going to get stripped back anyway. As we go a bit further back to the rear quarter, we can see some bubbling up from the corrosion. That's going to get stripped down as well. The rear bumper's in absolutely terrible state, as are some parts of the rear hatch. So everything's going to get sanded back, any rust is going to get converted, and there's going to be filled if needed and reprimed. This dent here, which has been on the car since before I've owned it, that's going to get filled. We're going to deal with the corrosion on the passenger side door. Again, if that can't be dealt with, I'll try and get hold of a spare one and replace that. It's been repainted, so it's not really too big of an issue. Again, I've got this corrosion issue in about the same place on the opposite side. That's going to get sanded back as well. And then if we look at the front of the car, we can just see that the colours don't quite match. I've replaced that wing before already, and bumper's not in a great state. Stone chips all over the bonnet, so I'm just going to go in there and you can see some of them. And again, just having a quick look at the bottom of that bumper, I'd really like to just get this sorted out. So I think by changing the colour of the car, it's a great opportunity to get everything looking a bit better. So the accident with the wing actually happened when I went down to Devon from Leicester to pick up these chairs. So I've managed to pick up a set of Audi A3 Recaros. They're fully electric, they have heating, they've got full electric controls on them, and they're in pretty good condition. I think I'm going to go over them and I'm going to give them a clean up. I'm going to give them some leather conditioning. However, they're in pretty good condition in general and I'm quite happy with how I think they're going to fit into the car. One of the things I'm going to think that will be fun when I put them into the car is the amount of electrical connections they have. At the moment I just have airbag connections on my seats and that's pretty much it. These have a ton of connections I'm going to show you now. So there's connections for floor lighting, there's connections for the electric seats, there's connections to move the seats. So I need to work out how I'm going to make a wiring loom to sort that out. So that was kind of unexpected when I picked the seats up, because if I knew the airbag connector might be a bit different, I was expecting it to be the 4 bolts to swap everything over. However, I didn't know about everything else that was going to be there. Okay, so just to give some context to tuning the car, I'm just going to play this. And that awful sound is the sound of the oil pump failure in the first engine I had in the car. So after the oil pump failure, I ended up getting a spare engine and fitting that to the car. And that was quite a big part of my learning curve for learning how to work on cars. So I ended up swapping the engine, swapping all the ancillaries over, and then once that was done, it resulted in the car working again. So when I did change the engine, I took the opportunity to put on a single mass flywheel instead of the dual mass flywheel that was on there as stock. And I also put on there an uprated clutch. And all of that's going to become relevant for the tuning bits that I'm going to do coming up. Because of when I also bought the engine, I managed to get hold of some PP764 injectors. And I think that they're quite a few sizes bigger than the stock injectors. So I'm going to go through that in the videos, but they're them in the picture there. They are quite dirty. They're going to need cleaning up, but they should bolt straight in. And that itself will give power before even looking at a remap. Now, when I do have everything tuned up, I'm going to need a boost gauge, and I've made one using some Arduino kit as well. That's going to go into the dash of the car, and that's going to be made to blend in a bit, so that's why I've gone for the red light you can see there. And this is a bench test, but I've actually had this working in the car for about 6 months. However, it looks a bit kind of like it shouldn't really fit into the car, and I'm going to use my 3D printer to make a surround for that so it does blend into the car. In fact, speaking of the 3D printer, there's going to be a number of different bits that I'm going to be doing with that. So that on screen there, it might look a bit simple, but that's actually one of the rear parcel shelf pegs because of since I had the car, it didn't have one. So I'm going to have a video on that. There's a couple of other bits and pieces like a stereo surround and anything I can think along the way to use a 3D printer for. So I'm going to be taking the channel videos in a bit of a different direction to where they have been so far. But with things like the painting, I'm going to be doing that in a way that hasn't been covered too much in videos that I've personally seen so far. I'm going to be sorting the interior out with the help of a 3D printer and a bit of ingenuity about getting those seats connected up. I'm going to be looking at performance. Now, although a lot of performance is documented online, I'm going to cover it more in the videos and breaking down. And everything that I'm looking to do for a cheaper price than a lot of people would usually pay for it. There's a lot of performance things you can do for not a lot of money that will extract more performance out of diesels. So I'm going to be going through those kind of things. And it's more about, my philosophy with this is not spending hundreds and thousands of pounds to get something that you can do for less, but whilst you are doing it for less, doing it in such a way that it's not a bodge job and that it doesn't screw the car up. And I think there's going to be quite a few people that are interested in that. However, I don't think it's always clear in the best ways that you can do these things. Hopefully I can get that across in the videos. So if you do want to keep an eye on the different projects that are coming up, hit the subscribe button. If you think there's anyone else that's going to benefit or enjoy watching these, then share them out. Okay guys, thanks for watching the update and I'll be back soon with more videos.